Make a motion, we open this meeting?
Second?
Moving second to open, all in favor? It's a vote. Craig, you wanna take the warrants?
Sure. Make a motion, we approve the following warrants. Warrant number 49, the amount of $16,978.59. Warrant number 50, in the amount of $54,522.79. Warrant number 51, the amount of $17,049.93. Warrant number 52, in the amount of $57,884.62. And warrant number 53, in the amount of $552,244.68. Second.
It's been moved and second to approve warrants 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53 as presented. All in favor? That's a vote. All right, approval of our minutes from the council meeting. Let's see, I was here, Craig was here, okay, so, because we can approve them.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from the regular council meeting of November 25th as written.
I have a question. Can I vote on these because it says here we didn't show up till number 6? Can I still vote on this?
You can, but it's really, might as well just, it's enough here to vote it if, Acacia does it, so, for some of the stuff in the beginning you weren't here on, so.
Okay.
I'll second.
So moving second to approve our minutes as written, all in favor? And that is a vote. All right, department head reports, fuel usage. Public Works, Jamie is off, right?
Right, he and Marilyn are enjoying themselves. They will be back, well, sometime tomorrow. They will not be at work.
If you have any questions on Public Works or transfer station, we can get them to Chris and he can get them answered for us. Moving on, the Baileyville Police, Bob, how are we doing?
Well, right now, all right.
Great, that's good.
Well, you wanna talk about changing status right now?
With, St. John Preston's last day is gonna be the 17th, and he's gonna go through the warden service in Pleasant Point. And if Jamie Dunbo does not pass his physical fitness test that he failed last week, if he doesn't pass it this Thursday, he will not be eligible to work anymore after the 30th of December.
Now, will he be able to do part-time?
Not for 6 months.
Not for 6 months.
Can't work in a PD for 6 months.
And is John gonna do part-time for you, or?
Yes, but I don't know how much of that he'll
Right.
do.
I have to ask this question because it's been bugging me. Why do they have a game warden at Pleasant Point? Help me out with that one.
Because there's 180-some thousand acres of land that the land claim settlement was awarded to the Passamaquoddy tribe, so you go around the state. And
Oh, throughout the state,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. So it's not just necessarily in Perry,
It's
No,
in
no,
the-
you'll go to Jackman, you'll go to
Jack-
Millnock, it's
Okay.
Medway, Springfield.
gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So, I'm assuming you're game planning?
Oh, yep. I've got one resume on my desk,
Hoping for others.
we'll wait.
Well,
So I'm hopeful that Jamie will, he passed his push-ups and sit-ups. He was only able to complete 3 laps on his run, before he had some type of dizzy spell. With his medication thing, sometimes that happens to him, so he has another chance to go back Thursday. If you fail the original test, you have one more bite at the apple. But if he does not make that, then we'll be down to 3 of us again.
And will we have to do the push-ups, sit-ups all over again, or just
Let's do it all again.
the whole
Yep.
works?
So,
Well, you'll keep us informed, I'm sure, on that.
I will.
We've been in this position before and you got us through it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we gotta go through it again, 'cause
Chief Randall approached John in the IGA this weekend and talked to him about combining police departments.
With Cal is down officers too.
Well, if I hire the one that's got the resume on my desk, they will be, and Charlie Ball, their other guys, all done on the 30th of December, he won't be able to work anymore either. So they need down to 3 people.
Let's cross the bridge after Thursday and see what happens. I mean, it's unfortunate because both, you know, Johnny and Jamie are good officers for you, and
Absolutely are.
but it's feast or famine, Bob, I
And
say.
there's one guy at the mill that has a salaried full-time job, Monday through Friday day shift, that wants to be done that job and come to work here, but there's some things that we'll have to do before to get him to be able to do that with training. But I'm hopeful. There's a big cut and pay for him, but Nathan Pike did the same thing. You $7 an hour cut and pay to come here. So, well, keep you abreast of what's happening.
I'm sure you will, I'm sure you will. I see you have your new uniforms on.
I like this. I had quite a few compliments on it too. I didn't get up and parade around like you wanted me to do. Let people see me.
It's a little dapper, maybe you should get a hat to go with it.
We actually have done that. We've ordered hats to go with it.
The berets that you were talking about, or?
Yeah, the red berets. Raspberry, I think is the color.
Oh.
Raspberry, there you go.
I was hoping fuchsia, but,
That doesn't go with the Prince song. He didn't have a fuchsia beret, he had a raspberry beret.
That's right, it's raspberry.
You old people.
Any other questions for Bob? All right, moving on. Let's do library. And I heard you guys talking, they got the rugs cleaned and
Yep.
having their Christmas party, everything's going okay as far as you know down there, Craig? Good. Parks and Recreation, Mike, how we doing?
Really good,
Excellent.
doing well. Santa will be at the Christmas party.
Excellent.
Did you wanna mention about the signs, you wanna wait for you?
yeah, go ahead, talk about signs.
I've been checking on the signs, about the name of the signs. It looks like White Sign Company can get us a good deal. 2x4 signs, and we can put them on the, various facilities with the names and things like that. So, you can pass around,
That'll be Tony
That's-
Field, and that fourth will be with the number 4.
right, we're gonna change them, but anyway, that's,
You've got one in your packet.
Yep.
I didn't think the price was too bad. And for metal ones, it's the best I could do for metal, if you wanna go towards wood and all that stuff, but,
That's really good. Any other questions for Mike? All right, moving on to wastewater. Anything to add there first to wastewater?
No, they did have a panel blowout, last month, and we've been, spending a fair amount of time trying to track one down. I had tracked, one down in California. The panel itself was only like $250, $300, but shipping was like 900, just short of 900. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna order 3 of them, because this is gonna be a repeating process from, at this point. Gonna order 3, and it was only $60 more freight, so, we're gonna pay $1,700 to get these 3 panels here, but, you know, rather than costing, $1,200 per panel, it's gonna, we brought the price down, to about $600 per panel. And I think in the future, you may see us do a big order to keep that freight cost down, and just keep them on hand, keep them in stock for the future, because this will continue to happen. They're starting to break down with UV, and so we're gonna have to start stocking them.
All right, Baileyville Fire. John, how's things going?
I'm at Tim. Quiet.
Quiet sometimes is good, John.
It is, yeah.
The gentleman come today and inspect all the boilers in the town, and he did a quick walkthrough through the fire department, but the fire department was looking really good today, so.
Any questions for John? All right, well, that looks like that clears up our reports. Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, additional stuff.
Yeah, no, where are we? Oh, here, gotcha. All right, now we're on to old business. Chris is gonna give us an update on broadband and Main Street Road project.
Okay, broadband, I don't know if any of you noticed, but, they are, starting an advertising campaign for the next 16 weeks. And they're gonna go through that and, make sure that they, blanket the area. You should also start to see some stuff arrive in your house, depending on your address. We are supposedly right in the testing phase of, the testing portion of the third phase, which he anticipates will be done at any time. But whereas they were 2 months ahead of time at one point, and I think now we're about 2 weeks ahead of time. So that's starting to slip back a little, and hopefully they get all their, I know they've had to go out and hire new people to come in and take the place of, the one gentleman who was injured and whatnot. So I suspect phase 4 and 5 will be occurring, as scheduled, as opposed to being ahead of schedule. And then phase 6 will continue, and then we have phase 7 occurring, which is also the lamb farm. So, things seem to be going well. Again, our spending is in good
In
shape.
good shape.
We're less than, 1.1 million at this point, and that's a good thing. So, we seem to be doing well.
Is there a head count on how many people are actually hooked up to the broadband?
I don't know, I know there's the initial count was 3 in Baileyville, but there are more addresses that are available, and advertising they've come out with is pretty, puts it right out there for people what they want and how much it's gonna cost them. And unlike Spectrum, which is who I have, there's no, for this long you'll go at this price and then it bumps up. It stays that price until everybody in the system gets an increase, and then it'll go up. So what you pay for today potentially could be what you pay for the next several years, so.
At least a half dozen more sign on if they get it, the rest of the way in town.
Yeah, I know, you I think are like phase 4 or 5.
You got it down Palm Street yet.
No, they haven't.
That's right off of Main Street.
Yeah, well, they're still working on they're still working on the most bang for the buck, so to speak. They're gonna hit all these streets before they head down Palm. And the last people, phase 6 is the folks out Bear Cove. So,
And still
And then
one
7 will be-
fella soldering wires, 12 hours a day. Is it still just one fella soldering wires?
Well, there
12 hours
was,
a day?
now I think there's 2. The guy who was one guy who's injured, and he was pretty fast. The Main Street Road project, Jamie and I sat down with Annalise for about 2 hours Friday and went over, what's going on. We have some issues that we want to address with the project. The bridge across the stream, tends to get, a lot of water buildup on that, and that's because they don't have adequate drainage there. They've got these drain pipes that go 7 feet down towards the water. We're hoping to be able to cut those off so that they don't freeze as easily. The other thing is we're trying to ensure that the state, understands that they maintain, ownership and maintenance responsibilities for the bridge, and that the rest of it becomes ours. The state just paved the head end of the road, much to our, we fought that for a long time. When we said, just give us the money and we'll include it in the project rather than spend it now. But there were some construction companies that were pushing the state to make them follow the same rules here as they have to in the rest of the state, so it got paved. With this project, we'll be milling that paving, it just got put down. But without milling it, we won't be able to put in curbing.
Sidewalk.
Right, so, and sidewalks, so by milling it, we can put in the appropriate curbing and get the sidewalks in, so that will be done. We're looking at a couple places, moving the driveway closer to the inside of the, right of way, or the outside of the right of way, I should say, further away from the street, so that in some places there will be a grass strip between the sidewalk and the curb. We're not gonna see that completely, but that's what we're gonna try to do. We're also gonna get, Scott Beal, or one of his folks, to sit down with Annalise and go over the project with them, so that they understand, what's gonna happen, how it's gonna happen, and what she wants to hear from, the mill as far as what their requirements are and what their future is, because she wants to make sure that when we build this, we don't do anything that's gonna be torn up once the mill starts, any projects they might do. For example, right in front of their headquarters building, the sidewalk actually goes onto their property by a couple feet, so we're gonna trim that back and keep it in our right of way, but a couple things like that. So, on the bridge, like I said, make more openings. We're gonna also, try to make sure that the water, there's a couple places where the water doesn't flow across, especially down by the high school, and if we like it. There's a couple places where we have, crosswalks going across, especially at the high school, going across the street that don't lead to anywhere, and there's gotta be a platform there, so we're looking at how we can, manage that, because you can't have a crosswalk go across a road without having the little ramp and then a landing, and then a place for people to actually go once you get them there. So we're looking at doing that, and seeing how we can make it, actually work. So like I said, we spent 2 hours doing that, and we started at, Route 1, and we went all the way up to the railroad tracks, and that's where we're gonna end the project, up to the railroad tracks.
What about extending that and have parking, that slanted parking?
Slanted parking on Main Street?
Yeah, near the courts, there's a lot of space there with that big ditch.
Okay, on our property though?
Yeah,
Yeah, we could probably put some parking in there.
I don't know how many you could fit, but you know how like they have that, they just kinda turn
Yeah,
off.
we can go, either side of that paved path up there, so that people
Yeah.
can park there.
But I'm
rather than
thinking like
park in
right
the
off
grass.
Main Street itself, like,
Do you think about, like, by the baseball field fence?
no,
No, down low.
down by
By
the big
the-
ditch.
I'm not su-
By the
I'm not
courts.
sure how much fill we'd have to bring in to do that, but the other thing is, okay, what happens to the water in that
See, there is
current ditch,
drainage
and where
there.
does it go?
That's the drainage from the
Yeah.
field.
Mm.
You'll still have to keep a culvert in there.
So, we can look at that and see what option works for us, and I'll bring that up to, Annalise too. But that's where we stand on that, and we're still on track for that project, happening this year. Annalise is putting the final, cuts on it, and we hope to have that on the street for the end of January, beginning of February, so that we have bids back in February, and that we're ahead of the power curve, so to speak.
As part of that, that refurbishing plan, and the sidewalks and just the overall appearance of Main Street, could we also look into, possibly replacing many of those elm trees that we lost many years ago? Would really, dress the town up nicely. We could, make a little bit of a tentative plan, of course, we won't know until,
We have 2 elm trees here in the front of the town office that were put in probably, 10 years ago?
yeah, they're very affordable,
Well, we can see what's out there.
yeah.
Um,
The street used to be lined
Are they
with
Valley
them.
Forges, hybrids, or are they?
I'm not sure what they are yet. I mean, I believe they're just regular American elms. I don't know what variety, but.
On Main Street, and were they both sides of Main Street?
Primarily the the mill side, I believe, but we had a lot of the ash leaf maples on this side, some on your property. The one that used to be on the corner,
Notice,
in front of your house, they're ash leaf maples.
Box elders?
No, they were ash leaf maples, this one on the corner was,
no.
but
There's
Box-
silver
yeah,
maple,
that's box
silver
elder.
maple on the corner.
That's the one that's
that they
not there
cut off,
anymore, yeah.
The stump that's there.
yeah.
And, I noticed that this town had, right across there from the parking lot, from the old mall downtown, you have, mill has a bunch of those.
It's the same elms that are there, those are
Well,
the only
those are-
ones that are left.
Those are elms, I thought they were, honey locusts.
They're falling down.
There could be some honey
Fine,
locusts, but there's
those-
definitely elms there.
That's what those trees are.
Yeah,
They're ahead.
but that's what used to be
Yes.
up and down all, that
Well, I
whole
do know
side.
that the mill wanted to have those removed, and it was a hefty price tag to have somebody come in and,
Yeah,
Arbor.
they had a truck come around and just catch one,
Catch
two,
one.
two trees down.
Yeah.
They're rotted from the inside out.
Mhm.
They're,
Yeah, if they were honey locusts, that, after, once they get that size, they will be rotted.
yeah.
But regardless, let's take a look at, I mean, even if we don't replace them with zirconia or
So,
something.
look at what we're gonna put for trees.
Right.
New business?
new business.
I've got you've got a copy of the deed, for Noah Southard. Did you set a price for him, or just?
We didn't set a price for it, we talked briefly. One of the things we've gotta talk about, is there any legal costs in this?
At this point, no.
Will there?
Probably, yes, probably, about $300.
So that really should be incorporated in this deed, that
Okay.
covers the legal costs.
I know town spent a lot of money taking water and sewer down there. Is he gonna be using water and sewer? Town water, town sewer?
I mean, I guess that's a question that Chris could ask, based on what he was explaining on the trailer type system. It sounded like he was gonna have some type of office there, so I would think that he'd have to have water and sewer
Right.
into there.
You would-
To have possibly even a wash bay of some sort for equipment.
What's the mechanism by which, if these three things aren't complied with, what's the mechanism by which it
That's,
reverts to
I
the
think,
town?
what the legal portion is gonna spell out, how we can get that back, or whether that would be in a separate purchase and sales agreement.
And how do we make sure that this set of stuff applies if he sells it to another,
Would be part, yeah, okay.
you know what I mean? If he's- So that,
Make sure
Because
the
this isn't-
covenants can stay with the property.
stay with the property, not just the person. And some mechanism for us to make changes to that. Because 20 years from now,
Like some.
Well,
his business model might have changed and,
Well, the other thing too is, if you look at the MRSA, statutes, every so often, the state will come by and change those, so there needs to be some way of ensuring that the similar statutes, if the numbers change, that continues. There used to be a Title 30, there's no longer a Title 30, there's a Title 30A that is taken over, so, yeah, I will mention that too.
So based on what we're seeing here, do you wanna put together another quick claim deed with the
With the changes?
and then are you gonna meet with Noah regarding this?
I will, and charge at least basically the cost of the legal.
Right, I mean, I don't know what that's gonna detail, but, and this is something that you put together, or you have?
Basically took it from what we'd had on other deeds,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, and you're comfortable with this, do you think we should run it through legal just to check
I
to
think,
see?
run it through legal.
To see if
You
there's
can never, I've been pretty sparing with the legal budget this year. I haven't spent a whole lot.
All right, so we're gonna table A for tonight, and Chris is gonna amend it and get that back to us. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Alright,
We got American Legion bingo license. Good to go?
Yeah.
Good to go. Need to get a motion, if we could, for,
I move that Baileyville Town Council approve the bingo license to the American Legion Post 23.
Second?
so moving second to approve the bingo license for American Legion Post 23. All in favor? That is a vote. I will send this down. Okay. All right, and then next Chris is gonna give us our municipal audit review.
got the audit back, no, real, items to worry about, it looks pretty good. I do have one concern though, is that if, and when we get, copies of it, I'll distribute them to you, but, my concern is, last year we had a surplus, or an unreserved fund balance of 1.284 million. Okay. This year, it shows that it's 4.3 million. And while I'd like to say I am one hell of a financial wizard, that unfortunately is not due to any huge increase in surplus. What it's due to is because of the funding that we've received from the, on the school projects, it shows us with a large amount of cash on hand. And that cash sits there, and the auditor at this point has lumped it into unrestricted or unreserved. So,
When in actuality.
when in actuality it is reserved, so, it's gonna take us a little while to process through and figure out what, we're looking at for, that, total. I would suspect it went up a little bit, but not,
Not by a couple million.
no, not by $3 million. I would have loved to have thought that, but no, I'm not that good. So that, but the other thing to take away from it is that we are financially doing quite well for what's going on. Manager's report, you've got a list of the action items. And we've seen, let me get my copy here. No Southard, the deed with conditions.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's gonna, we'll have that for the next meeting. Talked to Mr. Gibson, they will be adding that to their, club policy, as putting us as an additional insured, so that they can plow. Signage for the sports field, you saw what we've got there. Letter to Miss Martin, that went out to her. Rocky Reserve, he hadn't returned my phone calls, but, those phone calls spurred him to get a burn permit last week, and he got some of the stuff burned. And supposedly, according to what he talked to Andy, last week, is that he will be either today, which it didn't happen, or tomorrow, having the container removed. So, we're kinda a little hot and bothered to make that happen. Bailey property, small progress continues, a little disappears each day, but I wanna see it gone before the snow flies. Working on a change to the policy for vacation and payroll. And then I added today the Campbell property. I happened to drive by today and just glanced up the hill, and it's starting to multiply vehicles again.
Where's that?
Right across from Jamie's parents.
Jeff Campbell's.
I mean, it cleaned up nicely about a year and a half ago, and that was really very nice. But now I suspect, it started to multiply.
He was out of the home at the time, and now he's back, so he's bringing more stuff.
Right, so I told Andy to have him, I talked to Andy tonight, and I told him, stop by and tell him that he's gotta meet the junkyard requirements, and he's not gonna, well, technically, he probably, he couldn't do it, it's commercial property, he couldn't do it.
What's the latest on the CV property?
On the what?
The CV property?
CV property, little progress at a time, but it's nothing huge.
Just what they're gonna weigh?
I bet. Well, there's a couple of items have been taken away, but,
And they had mentioned they want an extension of some sort a while back, or they want a permit for that, the new living quarters.
oh, the
they
trailer,
have, or-
yeah, that was, they got that months ago.
Mhm. I figured as much, I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure what the,
But you really got two
Progress.
properties there you're dealing with.
Yeah, the one is worse than the other. The one, at least he can organize and it can get better, but that one needs constant attention. And I suspect that it'll be an issue for quite a while. I talked about the wastewater treatment plant, there are 3 pieces of plexiglass. The Christmas party, 11 on the 24th. This year we're gonna have, Amy Snowden's gonna provide the food. Bernadini's stuff. I remember, used to be my favorite restaurant until it closed. Let's see what else we have here. You've got a copy of the letter that went to Ms. Lawrence.
Yep.
we didn't do anything tonight with the restrictive truck ordinance.
No, but I would like to, well, before we leave, I'd like to have an executive session. That's after everything else. That's all I have.
All right, move on to public comments. Bob?
Yeah, the Stuff and Bus event will be this Saturday. If any of you have a chance to come down and help a little while, we'll be at Martin's and Walmart from 9 to 3. WQD Wise giving me a good deal on our live remote, and that cost will be spread between Walmart and Martin's. To pay for that, and the baseball team with 13 to 15-year-old kids will be there to help. We usually have the biggest issue when we come back to unload the bus here. So if you have time, we're gonna close at 3, should be up here by 3:30. Or you're gonna help me with the big yellow bus. And the Spend It Club had a bowling tournament a few weeks ago and presented us with a check for $1,100
Wow.
for the Stuff and Bus. That's the second year that they've done that, and that's up $400 and some from last year's donations. I talked with Scott the other day, I happened to run into him out here on a walk, and we talked about the truck signage at the end of the avenues. And it hasn't been the magic bullet yet, but it's much better than what it was.
It is.
And he was talking to me about seeing a truck pull in, see the sign on Second Avenue, back out and continue down the road, so, we don't chase as many trucks off Main Street. I'm sure it'll be a problem we'll always have here, but, I think it's made a big difference.
And then the next step is to take the signs that are along Route 1 that we put that's showing the access route
Straight
and get them bigger.
and straight.
Straight.
Everything, Bob?
That's it, thank you.
What day is that, the Stuff and Bus?
Saturday, 14th.
Oh, okay.
John?
No, sir, Tim.
All set? Mike?
We live streamed our first basketball game the other day. Worked out well,
Worked out well, good.
really well. The only thing is, we're still working on the interface for the scoreboard. We ran into a little bit of a glitch, so we're getting there.
Work in
One step,
progress.
that's exactly right, but it worked and everybody was pleased, so,
But the score is still an issue.
yeah.
You mean that we
It's in
lost?
Paul's expertise, not mine now. What's that?
You mean that we lost?
Oh,
Or
that doesn't matter, I don't have anything to do with that.
It matters.
I'm just talking about live, that went well.
All right, counselor closing comments. Craig?
I think we might have a minor issue over here,
Yeah,
thinking, it's not on the window, so I know we got insulation boards coming, but I'm guessing we might have some other issue.
Right on that window.
Yeah.
Just a guess.
Well, that'll be on the action list.
Yes, windows,
Could just be- Could just be some silicone on the outside, who knows?
Yeah, and the chimney's leaking again, so.
It is?
Yeah, I talked to your brother this morning about that.
Okay, that's all I got to.
All right, good. Steve?
Nothing.
Acacia?
Just something that if you folks wouldn't mind thinking about, after the third week in January, I'm gonna have a Monday night, something I consider an obligation, so if you folks are, open to changing meetings, to Tuesdays or some other night, something to think about, maybe check your schedules, see if there's anything major interfering with that, and
Is
we
this
can-
always gonna be, or just January?
just for the, like the spring semester,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so third week in January until about the third week in May, so, but, yeah, just something to think about, we can revisit that when it gets closer.
Because we usually do them on the second and the fourth, that's why I'm.
Right, yeah, so I've got an every Monday night thing that, is
But on-
quite important.
But on the
to me,
third
so-
week, or
Third
you
week in
start.
January. Yeah, start
Gotcha.
third
Oh,
week of January
okay, I
and
gotcha.
third week in May.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay. All right, and I have nothing. The only thing is, anything other than what we discussed that Chris has already put on the action list for next meeting? Good to go? All right, good to go. All right, now we are going to, Chris has requested an executive session for the personnel.
It's, possible change to employment condition, so.
Personnel.
Make a motion, we enter executive session pursuant MRSA 1 subsection
6C.
Chapter 13,
504, 6C personnel.
675
Usually keep that one handy. No, that's charters. No. Yeah, chapter 13, 40, subsection 405.
You're going for
Six C.
He's mine too. He's not happy with me, they didn't beat him.
No, Linda's in Bangor, she's talking home.
Thank you.
You better get going.